I bought a Rolex off eBay, so I thought I'd talk you through that journey. It was pretty scary, I'm not gonna lie. Welcome to Balk and Jack, I am Adrian, and this channel is just about me talking about watches, drinking coffee, and chatting with you guys. And today I'm going to talk about my buying process of going through eBay. I've not bought a watch off eBay, a watch of this level off eBay. I've bought a few Seiko 5s and things to tinker with, but mainly I want to talk about the new watch. But first, let's do a quick advert for my NATO straps. Over at balkandjack.shop, we have a whole host of NATO straps, and we ship them worldwide, so do go check those out. I hadn't intended on buying this on eBay. eBay's such a risky place to buy things, especially expensive items, and so it wasn't really ideal. And I had gone around all the shops in London. Part of the hunt is the most enjoyable part of buying a watch, and so I'd trawl the internet, I'd gone through loads of dealers, and of course eBay is always an option, and it's got a bad reputation because there are a huge amount of fakes on there. There's not only fakes on there, there's people trying to con others by creating Frankenstein watches, say by putting different dials on or repainted dials and things like that. So it is a very, very risky place to go. And oddly, items seem to be more expensive on eBay as they are on Chrono 24, which is weird because Chrono 24, although there are still Franken watches, there just simply aren't as many dodgy watches on Chrono 24, and it's getting more and more safer on there. So the plan wasn't to buy this on eBay, but it just so happened. Basically, my plan was to find a watch in fantastic condition. For me and for a lot of people, condition is key for everything. Box papers and all that stuff, it's all secondary. It's all about the condition of a watch. I do happen to like the idea of having papers. Box are kind of, having the boxes within the deal, it's not a deal breaker. And also, if people don't have the papers but they have the box, I always assume that the box has been bought afterwards. It's kind of just you can pick these things up for a couple £100 anyway. Rolex boxes are crappy. I mean, this I'm not sure how legitimate this box is within this whole package because there's a massive space there. I'm not sure what that was. Maybe there was a keeper there in the first place, but the outer box I'm not too concerned with. The inner box isn't in brilliant condition. I mean, we've got this kind of little flap here coming up, but Rolex boxes are crap. This is just plastic. They are pretty shitty, so that's kind of how it is with them, really. So the way that I managed to kind of convince myself that this was a good idea was by researching the seller. Obviously, you've got the feedback that you can check out on eBay, the seller's feedback. It's always worthwhile Googling the seller's username, because if someone's doing dodgy stuff, then no doubt it would have come up on forums and things like that. So it's a good idea to do things like that. There was something about the listing that gave me the impression that the seller was a watch person. For example, he happened to mention that the watch hadn't been serviced. He also happened to mention that the watch hadn't ever been polished. And to be able to mention those things, you've kind of got to understand that they are important to a buyer or a watch collector. You kind of have to be a watch collector and a watch buyer yourself. That stood out as something that was useful. The watch was listed for, I think, 6,400, and I ended up paying 6,000. I did try to push it down to around 5,800. It was more than what I wanted to spend, but the condition of this watch, it kind of, the whole package, it just felt worth it. So I know there are cheaper versions out there, but what comes with this watch, the fact that it is completely unpolished and everything is intact as it should be, that gave me the impression that gave me the confidence to kind of push my budget a bit more, really. So the watch came with all the bits and pieces. It's like this little kind of Submariner manual with all the variants of the Submariner in it. I don't know if anyone actually ever will read the style. It's got the instructions. Don't need that. Then it also came with the papers. Great thing about the papers is the fact that I mentioned this in the other video, is the fact that the papers actually have the original buyer's name. I don't know why this stuff's so cool, but it's just cool. It's just part of the history, and it's starting to look quite nice and aged. Just a bit of fun. Serial number, I did check the serial number matched the watch when I bought it, and also the watch comes with the swing tag, and so the serial number matched the papers, matched the case. It also comes with the little calendar card. I don't think they do these anymore. But it's got 2002, 2003, so it's all in date. All of this stuff could have been bought afterwards. None of this proves that it's a real watch. All of this stuff can be bought. Fake papers can easily be bought. It's just one of those things. But again, so and also, if you're looking for a pre-owned watch, papers, they don't add anything to the authenticity of the watch. It's nice to have the whole package, and I do like to have that whole package. I don't know why, whether it's OCD or just that whole collector thing, but it is nice to have the whole package there. But none of this adds to authenticity. It just reduces the likelihood of it being a fake. It's just one of those things. All of this stuff can be bought. I guess the swing tag is probably the hardest thing to fake. You can buy these plastic things anywhere, but going to that level of detail is unlikely for a fake watch. So again, none of this stuff verifies the watch as being real, but it all adds to it all reduces the likelihood of it being a fake. I don't even know what this bit is. All right, it's the chronometer certification. That's pretty cool. So let's bung this thing on the time grapher and see how it is shaping up. So this isn't going to be an exhaustive test, but it's just going to give an indication as to how well the watch is running. I'll put an affiliated link again down for this guy. I can't remember how much it was. I think it was £100, maybe £200. Again, this isn't a professional thing. This is just for Muppets at home who just like to play with this stuff. So I think that's long enough with pointing upwards. So we have a rate of plus 16 seconds a day, amplitude of 245. Beat error is getting better. It's still not good. And the beat error is 1.6 milliseconds. So basically this watch isn't in good health. Plus 18 seconds a day, amplitude of 211, and then a beat error of 2. The beat error should be as close to 0, and the amplitude should be 270 plus, and obviously the rate should be as good as possible. So my Explorer has been recently serviced. Let's have a quick look at how this is performing. So we have a rate of plus 1 second a day. We have an amplitude of 281 and a beat error of 0.1. So this is what a good watch should be doing. Amplitude is going down a bit to 277. And you can see the line here, how the line is very tight and relatively straight. 0 seconds a day. It's fucking impressive. This was built in 1998, so it's a couple of years older, 5 years older than the Sub. So this is what a good watch should be doing, and a watch that's been serviced recently. So I will be taking this to David Carpenter Watches and getting them to have a look at it. The watch was listed as barely worn, and considering that this watch is 17 years old, it is barely worn. It's not unworn. There are scratches around the case, and that certainly doesn't put me off. I actually quite like it when it's been worn. It kind of shows that I don't know, just shows it has history. It's got a sticker on the back, which is quite nice. The fact that it's a 17-year-old watch and it still has a sticker on it. It's got two stickers. It's got the disc kind of protective sticker, and then it also has that green sticker as well, the green Rolex sticker, which I do like. There's two cool things about that. One is the fact that I get to take a sticker off, but also it shows that the guy is taking care of the watch. He didn't want to grubby it too much, although that sticker is really quite manky now. So telltale signs around a watch being serviced or polished, it's always about the lugs. So what you need is you want the lugs to all be equal sizes, and also you want them to be squared off. So the biggest thing is that Rolex will grind down the lugs to remove any dents because they want to make the watch perfect again. The problem is that it then destroys kind of the character of the watch, but also the look. You can see on vintage watches that the lugs have been ground down so much that the strap pins, the spring bars actually poke out, and it doesn't destroy the quality of the watch. I just don't like the look of that. Also, a well-worn watch, the hollow end links might become quite loose. On old hollow end links, the end link is it can get a bit loose and a bit worn down over time. You can kind of see here that there's a bit of a gap between the bracelet and the case. On this, it is really very tight. So that implies, one, the bracelet wasn't worn too tightly, but two, the watch just really wasn't worn very much at all. So there's two gaps that can kind of happen is around the case and around the edge where the end link connects to the lug. For me, it's not really a concern because you're buying a vintage watch and this stuff happens, it wears away. Someone made a comment saying that, that there's no difference in wear between, no difference in strength between hollow end links and solid end links, and that's absolute rubbish. Hollow end links are simply a bit of bent steel. There's really not much to it. It's probably less than a millimeter thick. And then solid end links are just as the name implies, it is just a solid chunk of steel. So over time, this is very unlikely to wear away, whereas these do kind of wear away and disform as well. So other things to look at are the bezel. So this bezel is ultra sharp, and it's just not being worn down. I know the bezel isn't a service bezel because it's never been serviced, and I can check that it's not been serviced by the engraved logo at 6 o'clock, which is really hard to see with the naked eye, but through a loop you can see an engraved and a laser etched logo at 6 o'clock in the crystal. If the etching has an S in the middle, then it means it's a service crystal, and Rolex will pretty much always swap the crystal out just as a procedure when it's gone in for service, so you'll know that has been serviced or not been serviced. This doesn't have an S, so it's not been serviced. Another massive sign around whether a Rolex has been polished is the logo on the back. So as you can see, this is really pronounced. There's so much detail going on with this logo. This is my Explorer clasp, and I know this has gone back to Rolex to be serviced, and you can see that it has been ground down a little bit. There's still a nice amount of detail here, but you can see the difference between the two logos. The one on the right is really very, very detailed. And it's just a shame that Rolex go through this process of destroying the kind of the character and all of these detaily bits. I don't understand why they do that. But as you can see, the one on the right, huge amount more detail, and it shows that this hasn't ever been polished. Final thing about the condition is this little chamfering edge on the lugs. It's a very, very subtle kind of detail, but it is the first thing that goes if a watch goes in for a servicing, because Rolex will just grind down these edges to take out any dents, and immediately that little chamfered part will disappear. So much detail going on in this case, really super, super sharp. I have an ultrasonic cleaner here, and this, I'll put a link, an affiliated link down in the description below. This is cheap, and it's not the best thing in the world. It's certainly not kind of watchmaker grade stuff, but if you're just at home and you want to tinker with stuff, it's superb at getting grub and grime out. Although there is so much gunge, skin gunge in this clasp here. I'm unsure it's going to be able to get that stuff out. But we'll give it a go. I might have to get in there with a toothbrush or something. So as I expected, it just simply wasn't powerful enough to get all the gunge out, but it has gone into all the little crevices and got the majority of the crap out. I'm just going to have to grab a toothbrush and I'll go do it in the bathroom. I'll use my wife's toothbrush. So that's all nice and clean. It's so nice to see all the detail in here and just get all that crap out. It's quite nice kind of bonding time with the watch. I need to get all the crap off the back of the case back. I want to keep this sticker intact, the green sticker intact, but I do want this kind of plasticky sticker off. I'm not going to baby this watch. This watch is going to be worn. It's going to be loved. We're going to do everything together. So I don't need to baby this watch with having stickers left on it. This is switch cleaner. Switch cleaner is just basically aerosoled pure alcohol. So it's going to break down all the sticky residue. I do want to be careful not to damage that green sticker though, because I do quite like the green sticker. My Explorer came with the same green sticker on the back, so there's something nice about having that green sticker, although it will deteriorate very, very quickly. So this is a watch. This is it done. I need to get the bracelet sorted out, but that'll probably get done when I take it in for a bit of a service. I am honestly over the moon with the condition of this thing, and I know I spent a bit more than what I wanted to, but I do feel like it was justified just to get the whole package. All of this other stuff, it is just added extras. The watch itself is what's important, and this is in fantastic condition. Everything else, it's just a nice to have, and I guess that's why I felt justified in increasing my budget to get the whole package, because it really is a full set. I'm going to be doing a video explaining why I went with the 2-line version and why I went with the 14060M as opposed to the 1460. There are a few variations, and I know lots of people just keep saying, you've already got a sub, why have you bought the sub? Well, there are differences, and it's those subtle differences which I enjoy reading about and enjoy kind of just exploring. And if you're not interested in the subtle differences, then that's cool, but there's things that I like. The fact that it's got a flat 4 on it, there's things that are different. A Node 8 sub will look like any other Node 8 sub, but look closer and look at the details, and it's that geeky shit that I get excited about. Anyway guys, thanks for listening. Do chuck your comments and your thoughts around buying a watch on eBay. It is really, really risky. I know it is, and I guess the biggest advice that I can give is just learn as much as you can about the watch that you're about to buy. Learn what all the different variations are. If you really are unsure of what you're doing, then I guess stick to the resellers or stick to buying new. Do check out my website barkandjack.com if you want to see old videos and read articles on new watches or kind of stories around watches. I've got native straps at Bark and Jack. I've got one here. I've got native straps at barkandjack.shop if you want to go check those out, and check me on Instagram at barkandjack, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.